Get your mana back, restores 3% there, and of course, poison. Kind of difficult to dodge around if you have any degree of practice with Cassiopeia. Of course, Faker locking in now Annie versus Cassiopeia. Of course, the bane of all Cassiopeia players are either gap closers or heavy CC, and of course, Annie comes with a lot of CC in her kit. Of course, the burst damage might not be something that Fury is going to be able to take down. Now, should be seeing Barrier for Fury and Flash Ignite for Faker. Now, it's going to be up to Fury whether or not he wants to take Teleport in this matchup. It may allow him the opportunity to sustain through a lot of early game harass, recall back to base, and come back into lane full health with an extra item advantage, but Faker, he's guaranteed to get at least one trip back to base this game. And off the items that he buys, probably going to be double Doran's rings, even if he doesn't start with one. It's going to be a rough matchup here for Fury. A lot of harassment early on, but I feel like the all-in is just going to be in Faker's favor. Of course, I think the odds pretty much ever in his favor as far as 1v1s are concerned. A lot of prowess, a lot of reputation behind that. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Faker will be able to uphold his very strong reputation as far as being a god at 1v1s. Fury, not quite so storied a player. Of course, as far as Azubu players of the game, Faker's actually already won 2 of those Azubu awards already this season. I think he won one for Syndra and the other one for LeBlanc. So he's, as far as, you know, Faker and Azubu TV go, not only has he won awards for his play in LCK this season, but he's also, you know, popular streamer here on Azubu TV. If you guys like watching Faker, you can catch his streams every once in a while. You can check, of course, the schedule. Should be located on the front page if you're interested in knowing when Faker goes live. So it's, you get the idea. There's been a lot of Faker here, and I think he's here to stay with a dominant Game 1 victory. I don't want to say necessarily dominant. We'll see if that is reflected here in game number 2. Of course, in a little bit of a peek at the runes and masteries. Coming your way, flat HP, some extra mana regen. Penetration stats, and of course flat damage there as well. It's going to be interesting for Fury, who with the masteries revealing maybe a little bit more than the runes actually did decide to go for 21-9 or 21-0-9, foregoing the extra regeneration stats in defense and picking up some regeneration based off his total mana pool there. Second tier of the utility tree. That will also give him total biscuits of rejuvenation, as well as some extra healing from his health potions. And does put 3 points into extra move speed, which could be enough to, you know, change some minor micro decisions. But let's go ahead and check out SK Telecom T1 Faker's rune page. You can see armor, magic resistance, damage, and I want to say that was penetration, but I didn't catch that last stat. Before we switched over to his masteries, you can see 21-9-0 with equal points put into AD and AP. Recognizing that Annie's long auto attack range will allow him a lot of opportunities to auto attack, and then picking up some extra AP just because, I mean, Annie gonna be killing you with the ability power there as well. But interesting to see kind of a hybrid split through the mastery pages to specify both, to spec into both AD and ability power. And in fact, some Annies in 1v1s we've actually seen pick up Doran's Blades early, just because, kind of like the Kennen strategy where you pick up that AD early. Just because you recognize you're going to be able to harass more off of auto attacks. But we should just see a Doran's Ring Flash Ignite start here for Faker. Possible Crystalline Flask for his opponent. But let's go ahead and get hyped for game number 2. It'll be coming up here in any second. This is the Solo King tournament brought to you on Azubu TV. And of course, we'll be getting into game number 2 between Faker and Fury. SKT T1 versus Samsung is coming your way, so don't go anywhere. When we come back, it'll be game number 2 in this best of 3 series. Winner will advance to face the victor of Kane versus Winged, which will be our best of 3 coming up after this series. Of course, we have to finish game number 2. It'll be coming your way here in just a minute, so stick around, don't go anywhere. Solo King game number 2 is coming up next.
You'll all make me wanna
Fury thinks this is funny, but we'll see if he thinks it's quite as funny as he steps into lane versus a Faker. Game number 2 in their matchup here in the Solo King Korean 1v1 tournament, of course featuring your favorite players, teams, and champions from this season of Champions, broadcast here on Azubu TV. My name is Reed Rapid Melton, and we're getting into the lane phase, or these Fakers into the lane phase. I think he's actually looking for auto attacks on turrets, but once again, Fury going to wrap around here and look at the vote differential from Inven. Did polling over the course of the last few days, 4% for Fury versus a 96% vote of confidence here for Faker. Doesn't get much more of a dominant vote differential than that. Are you the 4% that think Fury can pull this back, or the 96% that believe in Faker? I think putting your bets on Faker may on paper seem like the correct position, but we'll see how Cassiopeia fares versus Annie. Of course, it is the Flash Ignite Summoner spell combo picked up for both Faker and Fury so far, so once again committing to that very aggressive all-in style. We're going to see if Fury has what it takes to turn things around. Faker already up 1-0. A Lissandra victory over Fury's Jarv in the 4th, now coming into lane. We're going to see a Doran's Ring with Total Biscuits of Rejuvenation start for Fury, whereas Faker is going to go for a little bit more of the passive Crystalline Flask start, probably hoping that he's able to sustain through the early game and then come back with a couple of Doran's Rings after his first recall. Of course, he will have to walk all the way back to lane. No teleports for either player. Faker just looking to dodge as much poison as he possibly can. Put out that Incinerate Harass. And he graded CS game as well. Does get refunded mana and half cooldowns on Incinerate when you use it to clear out the minion wave. Now, Fury going to get continually harassed down below half HP, but same situation for Faker, who's actually stepped on quite a bit of poison harass here for Fury. Kind of uncharacteristic to see so much damage taken quite this early on, but with enough sustain to really out-sustain Fury, who only has those 2 Total Biscuits of Rejuvenation. This is going to be a really big disadvantage once Faker equalizes this wave. And of course, CS will be important to pick up items once you go back to base, but should be a little bit less important than actually getting off harass, because specifically for Faker's Annie, is going to be able to put out so much damage early on that I'm not sure Fury is going to be able to withstand the power. Fury boxing with a god at this point. Ignite being thrown down here. Faker looking for the 1v1. The all-in is going to flash into the brushes. Cannon minion taking him down through the brush. The ward placed into it didn't work quite the way that Faker wanted it to. Does get the stun, but look at this. He's actually going to take the continual Twin Fangs after walking onto the poison. And watch this next Twin Fang. Faker realizes he's not going to have the Q cooldown up in time. You only get half duration on that spell when you kill a creep with it. Didn't come back up, and that's the all-in for Fury, who will take out game number 2 versus Faker and force a blind pick game number 3.